take the Department of Education, close it. I'm going to close it. We'll have one person, could be you if you decide to retire.
Okay, Mr. President, here's what bothers
central casting.
Here's what bothers me about that. So let's say you have a liberal city, let's Los Angeles, San Diego, and they just decide we're going to get rid of that history. We got new history. This is America built off the backs of slaves on stolen land. And that curriculum comes in.
Then we don't send them money. We would save half of our budget. Okay. And we're going to send. But if they want to do that,
because you do lose control when you go low.
No, we've lost control. We're number 40. We're last on the list. Okay. We're the worst there is, and we spend more money than.
Well, some of the things that I want. One is thing is tax, no state tax for all states. I mean, I know there's some states right now that doesn't have that pay state tax, so congratulations to them. But I want it in all 50 states. That's one thing. Free education for any kid deciding he wants to go to college or go get a trade or vocational school or certifications. Those are another thing that I would like to see. And especially if one who goes to school in their own state. Now, if you decide as a child to go to school in another state, you have to pay the tuition rates. So be it. But if you're going to go to any school within your state, it ought to be free to the kids. My last thing would probably be a legit police reform. I'm talking about a legit police reform, not this bullshit they talking about defunding it. No, I don't want that. I want the funds they need to do what they need to do. But I want a reform where there's accountability held over these individuals who are not always on the up and up that's working on the police force or any law enforcement.
Mm-hmm. All right, hold on, Clyde, before you go. Let me get Shannon in there because she haven't spoke yet at all. Go ahead, Shannon.
No, I missed the first conversation. I saw what this young man said about DEI, which I do want to come on the back end and talk about that as far as it relates to education, because I'm in education. But I hear everything that he's saying. But my question is, if you said you don't want any state tax, then how would they pay for those things? Because the taxes in state pays for everything that you just mentioned.
No, federal tax does.
No,
it's all federal. Yes, it is.
Education is not federal; it's state. That's why different districts have different schools because it's state. Everything is in the state. Federal only pays for Title I, special education, certain programs.
In Texas, we don't pay state tax.
Then how is education funded in Texas, Florida?
So property tax is
I don't know why she said it's federal. I don't know. Okay, I got you. Hold on. Yeah, about 4 states that no state taxes.
If you apply is for federal funding, you have to apply for federal funding.
The Fed pays them based off the amount of students they have, based off of grades, based on the Fed is what pays the state.
Exactly, and then that's why it should be better that the education is in the state's hands. And the crazy thing is, and that's another thing.
Can we take a moment to look up what pays for state for education?
It's federal. I mean,
the state pays for it, but they get the money from the federal government.
They get the money for the federal government. That's a fact. But that's another thing when I was saying about fear mongering.
Property taxes don't pay for education.
Property taxes?
Small percentage. Small percentage.
A percentage of the things in the district.
Yeah, maybe like property taxes if you. Yeah, because the school is on property on a piece of property in that state, but the school and the education system is really handled federally
by the federal government. It is the state asks the federal government for money, so that's why there are all these rules. That's why the LGBTQ all that stuff is handled by the federal government, and it's now in our schools. That's why they're like, we stepping back on that, right? Because they handle most of that stuff because they get funding. And they can say, well, we're going to pull our federal funding from this school if y'all don't do what we say.
I'm not saying they don't get federal funding. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying the majority.
Say you don't know where your check comes from? You don't know where your goddamn check comes
from? Hold on, y'all.
Majority of the funds don't come from property tax. I didn't say that they don't fund something.
No, they don't.
No, the majority of the funds come from the federal government.
Okay.
So I think it would be better if the education system was ran by the states.
So why?
That's actually why Trump is pushing what he's pushing. That he wants to dismantle the DOJ, the Department of Education,
Yeah,
to give
exactly.
those rights back to the states, so that they can, if y'all want to teach kids whatever, then that's on the state to make that decision, and y'all are going to be able to fund it on your own to make a smaller government.
Which
the Constitution was actually written upon,
and will in turn give the students that are in states or in cities that are in impoverished neighborhoods, that'll give them a chance at better education because the state is handling it and it's not federal government that's being spread upon the whole United States.
So
then why is he threatening the governor of Maine to do it?
So let me just say this: this is not true.
He's threatening her because he's threatening her because she's still pushing the LGBTQ stuff. She's still allowing for men.
Does it matter if he pushing everything out to the states?
Yeah. So again, and you can easily go and YouTube this because it happened in live action. He told her that if you don't stop allowing for men to compete in women's sports, then you're no longer going to get federal funding. And her exact words were, "See you in court then." So this isn't something that I'm just making up. This isn't something that's not true. If she wasn't doing that, then she would have replied differently. But instead, she said, "Well, we'll see you in court." So, I mean, I think that should be a clear indication that she's intentionally going against what an executive order was that was given by the president in hopes for her to still receive federal funding. So, I mean, you can Google it, YouTube it. You can literally watch it in real time.
All right, go ahead, Shan. I know Shan want to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I don't like so from what I see, you guys can look it up yourself. 10% of funding comes from federal. Everything else is property taxes in the state. Please just look it up.
Shane, did you not hear what I said, though? Shane, did you not hear what I said?
I'm just telling you. I'm not talking to you at this
I heard
point.
that. What you talking about? You're talking about high school, elementary. I said college. I'm no
longer talking about you. Okay, thank you for clarifying what you're saying. I'm just saying in general when we made a statement after you finished. I just wanted to, because I hate misinformation. That's one thing we love to do. So I just want people to look it up, and if you have a challenge because you see something different, let me know.
All right.
The whole conversation got started based on what I was saying, talking about kids going to schools for free.
Okay.
That's what I was talking about. College. They already going to high school for free. It's not costing them to go to. Okay,
did I get an attitude with you or something?
Yeah, I wanted to say something real quick. Look, I understand everybody's perspective and their own polarity, but when I look at things globally, like what does the money that all these education systems are receiving, what has that gotten us? You know what I'm saying? Like America ranks like 6 in proficiency, 10 in science, and 26 in math. And we spent, what is it, $251 billion? Like, if we spend the amount of money that we spend on education, we need to be ranked number 1 across the board. I don't care if it's polo dancing. Like, we need to be the amount of money that is spent on education. We need to be number 1 across all boards, because that shouldn't be an excuse. But unfortunately, that's not really the reality of what's happening. So I want to understand what is happening to the money that is being taxed on us, the responsible stewardship Americans that are buying into the system to ensure that the future generations behind us have the necessary skills, tools needed for them to thrive, survive, and for them to, trailblaze their future after we're far and gone. What is happening? You know what I'm saying? Where is that money going? Because it doesn't reflect in the numbers.
All right, let's go ahead and go to Cookie. Go ahead, Cookie.
The money is going for test preparations. Nobody joins school boards. Nobody joins PTAs. Nobody goes to school board and goes to the state. If you have children, some of y'all don't have children, and says, "Hey, I want my child at school to learn, not to learn how to take a test." That's where all the money is going. Preparing them to take a test that proves to the state that this school deserves money.
Funding. Right.
That's
So,
where it goes.
thank you for that. Appreciate that. You know, it's interesting because I watched recently, within like the last year and a half, it was a documentary and it was covered. It was a quick documentary about Scandinavian nations, you know, countries in Scandinavia. They don't teach to a standard. They, like, whatever the answer is, that is the answer. There is no multiple choice. There isn't a test prep. They teach the entire curriculum and help you understand and comprehend what you need to answer, how you need to answer it. They don't have multiple choice options. They don't have A, B, and C. The answer is the answer, you know, and sort of they look at that and pride their entire educational system. That's why when I made the comment about us ranking, you know, not number one in reading proficiency, math, and science, and all these other areas, and yet we spend 10 times more money than all these other nations. How the hell is it that we're not number one in every single category? That's the problem that I'm trying to understand.